They say grief is like the ocean. It comes in waves. Sometimes it's a storm that tears everything apart. And sometimes it's just the terrifying silence after the tide goes out. On Mont Kalubo, the silence was deafening. Sabo was gone. The boy who was the glue, the brain, and the smile of the trio vanished into the blue. Now there were only two. Two brothers left in a world that felt far too big and far too empty. This isn't a story of a great battle. It's a story of the quietest mourning after the loudest tragedy. The sun rose over the gray terminal, just like it did every day. But for Ace, the light felt different. It felt heavy. Usually, Sabo would be the one to wake them up, with a map, a wooden pipe, or a clever plan for their next heist. Ace looked at his hands. They were trembling. He was only 10 years old, but in this moment, he felt like he had aged a century. He looked over at Luffy, still curled in a ball on the floor, his straw hat clutched so tight his knuckles were white. Luffy's dreams were no longer about meat or becoming the king of the pirates. They were filled with the sound of a distant explosion and the sight of a black top hat floating aimlessly on the waves. "Luffy, wake up," Ace's voice cracked. It was the first time he had spoken in days. "We have to eat. We have to keep moving." They went into the woods to hunt, trying to do what they always did, but the rhythm was broken. When they tracked a giant tiger through the brush, there was no one to flank from the left, no one to signal the trap, no one to laugh at their mistakes. Luffy tripped, distracted, staring at the horizon where the forest met the sea, perhaps still searching for a small boat that would never return. The tiger turned, baring his fangs, ready to strike. In a flash of pure desperation, Ace threw himself in front of his younger brother. He didn't use his pipe, he used his bare teeth and nails. He fought like a demon, not for glory, not for treasure, but out of a terrifying fear that he might lose the only person he had left. After the beast fled into the shadows, they didn't cheer, they didn't celebrate. They just sat in the mud, breathing heavily in the cold air. "Sabo would have tripped that tiger in 3 seconds," Luffy whispered, his eyes finally welling up. Ace didn't tell him to stop crying this time. He didn't call him a crybaby. He just sat there in the dirt, letting the rain wash the blood and the tears off his face. The sun began to set, painting the sky in bruises of purple and gold. They sat on the edge of the secret cliff, overlooking the vast, uncaring ocean. "Ace," Luffy started, voice small and fragile. "Are you going to leave too? Is everyone going to leave me?" Ace looked at the boy beside him. In that moment, Portgas D. Ace made a choice. He pushed his own grief into a dark corner of his heart to make room for Luffy's survival. He realized being a big brother wasn't just about being the strongest. It was about being the one who stays. "Listen to me, Luffy," Ace said, grabbing Luffy's shoulders. His eyes were burning with a fierce, cinematic intensity. "I will never die. Do you hear me? I will never leave you alone. I don't care what the world says. I don't care whose blood runs in my veins. I am your brother. And from now on, I'll live enough for both me and Sabo." He pulled Luffy into a clumsy, tight headlock. It wasn't a soft hug. It was a warrior's promise, a vow etched in the salt of the sea and the blood of their brotherhood. The third cup was empty. The trio was broken, but as they walked back through the dark woods towards Dodon's hut, their footsteps began to sink once again. They weren't okay, not yet. The wound was deep, and the scar would remain forever, but they were together. And in a world where the sea is cruel and the shadows are long, having someone to walk in the dark with is everything. What do you think Sabo would say if he saw them that night? Would he be proud of the man Ace was trying to become for Luffy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see more deep dives into the bonds of the ASL brothers, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep chasing your horizon.